we've got to get out of that mentality. Hey, the Lions can win 7 or 8 games. Who the hell cares? Because they've been doing that for decades. What does that get you? Nothing.
Terry, I'm ready to put to bed the conversation of Jared Goff. He is a good bridge. He is the guy that you can put in there for the next year or two and say, all right, we have a very good coaching staff. We have a very good front office. We have a talented roster. Hey, by the way, the quarterback is at least average and sometimes can be good. Is Dan Campbell a very good head coach? If he is not, no, you cannot win with Jared Goff. All right, Terry, Dan Campbell catching a lot of traction for head coach of the year. He's becoming Bettors' favorite to win head coach of the year. What that tells me is one of two things. People need to understand head coach of the year is not who has the best record in the NFL, right?
It's the team that makes the most improvement
typically. Mm-hmm. And when you are a 13-1 football team, if I were to tell you in the second year of a rookie head coach that you either A, competed for the division and ended up with a wild card spot, or B, dare I say, you won the division, that is an automatic lock for coach of the year in the NFL. And again, if I look at Dan Campbell, he's set up to contend for that award. And considering it's at 10-1 odds, it's a great bet.
Yeah, it is a great bet. You know, if you go from 3 or 3.5 wins, whatever you want to call it, last year to 7, and you double your output, and it's with the Detroit Lions, voters are going to pay attention.
They're at least going to
that.
pay attention. I think 9 is where we have a discussion of he might win Coach of the Year.
No, at 9, he will make Coach of the Year unless another team with a bad record makes the playoffs, wins the division, something crazy like that would be the only way that you can knock him off.
Yeah, I think.
But what are the chances of that happening, though?
Not ideal. But I would, again, it's a great bet. 10-1. It used to be 12-1. Now it's down to 10-1. People are betting on it a lot, significantly.
You better get on that quick there, brother.
There's a lot of people that believe in this MCDC train, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you what I like about him from a leadership standpoint. On the field this year, we're going to find out if he can coach. And last year, I think it's fair of me to say, and tell me if I'm wrong, that the coaching staff, not just him, but Aaron Glenn, Aubrey Pleasant, the entire staff, coached up individuals that wouldn't make a 53-man roster maybe elsewhere. Now, is that ideal? No. You prefer talented players, right? Correct. But the idea that the whole concept of a coach, coaching up talent, coaching up potential, getting the most out of what's given to you. I think I'm confidently saying that last year they coached up a majority of that roster, especially down, I would say, the last 7-8 games of the year. It was an improved team. It still had its bumps in the roads. It was not a winning team. It was a losing team that was improving week to week. Dan Campbell this year could jump from 3 to 9 wins, and I don't think that would surprise me. Even as again, it's the Lions. All right, like I can't go about my life right now thinking about same old Lions. I can't do it. I personally can't. I can't let it cloud my judgment. What I'm looking at is a football team I believe Terry's going to be a pain in the ass to play against. They're going to be able to run the ball whenever they want. They're going to be able to really deceive you with play action, rollout, whatever it may be, motion plays. And then if the defense can just not be 31st in the league again. Yeah, 3 to 8. From 3 to 8, 3 to 9. Yeah, that might get you in the Coach of the Year conversation. 100%.
Oh, it definitely will. That might even get the Lions as a team in the conversation, because the national media doesn't talk about the Detroit Lions because there's nothing really here to see. Everybody here is interested, but when you look at it from a national standpoint, there's really no reason to pay attention to the Detroit Lions. outside of their ineptitude. But, the NFL's not interested in that. But if you go from 3 to 8 or 9 wins, they're in the national conversation. Here's the Detroit Lions. The sad sack Pussycats are now roaring. We're going to see all kinds of stupid stuff that people are going to write about or broadcast about this team if they make such a huge leap.
And they have the makeup of a team that can do it. X Factor players, ideally, right? And when I say X Factor, I mean players that you expect to make an impact on the field will be available this year. Hawkinson, Swift, Akuda, by the way, who was the number 3 overall pick from a previous draft class. You expect him to come out and at least give you something, and if he doesn't, F it. Season's probably not going well anyways. But the point is, you have to look at the Detroit Lions this way. They have had a bottom 3, bottom 4 pass rush for the last 7-8 years. They went out and drafted 2 pass rushers with 2 of their first 3 picks. You can check the box that, hey, we addressed it. Does that mean they're both going to work out? They're going to be all-pro? No, we cannot have that conversation right now. But what we can talk about is X specific team, whatever it may be, whoever it may be, are they addressing the needs of their football team? Are they taking players on the board at a time where it's very valuable? They're getting them higher than expected or lower than expected. They're reaching or they're stealing the player. If I look at the Lions draft class, I don't see anybody that they reached for. You don't reach for Hutchinson at 2. He was the number 1 player on everyone's board. You traded up for Jameson Williams at number 12. Justin Jefferson went 20 or 22. Jamar Chase went 5th
Technically, you could say that is a reach. Although,
even though he was the 3rd wide receiver off the board, though, if he was the 1st,
it could be a reach because of the injury.
Yes.
Technically, you could say it is.
But what I would say to that can be true. Fine, that's fair. It also is fair to say without an ACL injury, that's probably the 1st wide receiver off the board this year. And for me, that's a lot of value at 12 because what you had seen is Drake London go and then Chris Olave go at pick 11. And the conversation was, oh, whoa. Wide receivers are starting to fall off the board.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Wilson goes at 10. Time to go get that guy. I thought it was pretty impressive. And then pick 46, I saw Pascal as a 2nd-round pick. I didn't think they would take him at 34, but the trade dynamic really shifted everything. And taking him at 46, I think, is fair, if not very good value. Very good value. And then Kirby Joseph at 97, nobody expected him to be available. He was supposed to go between pick 66 and about pick 80. Fell to 97. Great. Good value. I didn't see the Detroit Lions reaching maybe like we saw the Patriots with Cole Strange. There are positive things that happen in the offseason. And I'm ready to put to bed the conversation of Jared Goff. I don't need Jared Goff, I told you, to be excellent, good, great. None of it. You know what I need Jared to be? Average. Be consistently average for 17 weeks. And I believe this team, 80% of the time, maybe 75, will have an opportunity to win the football game. An opportunity.
So if
Not
he's
that they will.
average, you still think the Lions can win 9 games?
No, I think they can win 6 to 8.
Okay.
He's going to have to play good to get them to 8, 9, 10 wins. He's
Oh,
going to
but
have
you said you don't need him to play
No,
well.
I don't need him to play that well, no.
Well,
'Cause
actually, you do if you
want him to win 9 games, yes. But if you want, again, my definition of average, by the way, isn't just some bum. It's a guy that's consistently doing good things for you, but has a tendency to make mistakes consistently, like his fumbles, like his interceptions. And
Fumbles are not going away.
yeah, small hints. It's interesting because I can walk away from last season with Jared Goff and say, you know what? Yeah, I don't like the guy as the future of this team. But I can also admit, hey, if they're able to get what they got out of his last 4 starts, which was the 4th highest passer rating in the NFL. And that was well before teams were resting players. That was around week 13, week 12, week 13. He was playing some of his best football we've seen in a Detroit Lions uniform. Now, that's not saying much, but the point is, you give me 70% of that guy. You get me Jared Goff, middle of the pack in the league, ranked between top, I would say, number 13 and number 18. Oh, I can win a lot of football games, Terry. Yeah, I don't need him to be good, excellent, great. None of that.
I think
based on good coaching, right? I mean, I'm
think
taking
you
a lot
need
of things
a little
into
bit
fact.
more out of him. You're settling for mediocrity.
No, not
which
necessarily.
is what the Lions typically do.
Not necessarily. If Dan Campbell is that guy, and I've had this conversation with you multiple times now, if Dan Campbell is that coach, yeah, I can win with average because I have a very good GM, I believe, and if he's a very good head coach, I can win with Jared Goff.
But don't you think if he's a very good coach that Jared Goff won't be mediocre? He will coach him up to be good. Not
he will be
excellent,
good,
but
but he'll have mediocre moments, and that will never go away.
Of course not.
Just like you saw with Ryan Tannehill. You see it with Baker. You see it with Kirk Cousins. 1 week, 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. You're like, oh my God. And then the next week, 143 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And you're like, yep, oh my God. That is why they're not elite. They're not consistently very good to good. That is why they're not elite. And I don't think Jared Goff is an elite quarterback. I don't think anybody does. And unless he proves it this year, which I doubt it, he's not throwing for 4,400 yards in this offense. He's not throwing for 35-plus touchdowns in this offense. It's just not a thing. It's not how this team is going to play.
I think the key thing is when this season is over and you ask a typical Lions fan what they thought of Jared Goff, will they use the terminology bum? Because even though, I mean, we thought Matthew Stafford was a good quarterback here, he won no playoff games. They called him Pat Stafford.
We're talking about Lions fans,
but
not the brightest.
I understand that, but when it's all over, will they use the term bum?
With Jared Goff?
With Jared Goff.
No, I don't think they'll say bum.
Okay, then he's going to have a good year. He can't have an average year in this town and not be called
I don't know.
bum.
This town needs to shut the hell up because they need to understand you can win with a bridge quarterback. And if they want to blame everything on Jared Goff, the only way you can do that is if he absolutely craps the bed. That's the only way. If he is so bad that you cannot overcome his play, which I don't see him being that bad this year. He is a good bridge. He is the guy that you can put in there for the next year or two and say, all right, we need to go look for our franchise guy. And while we do, by the way, we have a very good coaching staff. We have a very good front office. We have a talented roster. Hey, by the way, the quarterback is at least average and sometimes can be good. Cool. You can win games with that. Kirk Cousins, 500 record. You can win games with average. You can win games with average there.
Okay, brother, I'm not interested in winning games. I've heard this over and over from players, fans, people like you. You know, the Lions can win football games. Well, so can the Jets, and so can New England, and so can Minnesota, and so can Chicago, and so can San Diego. Everybody can win games. At some point, we've got to get out of that mentality. Hey, the Lions can win 7 or 8 games. Who the hell cares at this point? Because they've been doing that for decades, winning 7 or 8 games, and what does that get you? Nothing. Tell me a guy who can win playoff games. Tell me a guy who can quarterback a team to win a division title. I'm sick of the whole.
But you had that guy.
No. What I'm saying, I'm sick of it. Of can win games. I hate that because that doesn't tell me anything. Anybody can do that, and that's what the Lions. You know what? As bad as the Lions are, guess what they do? Sometimes they win games. Now they don't win enough games, but they win games. So I'm just tired of, when they hire somebody, we can win games. Who the hell cares? Big deal. Now, I understand they are rebuilding again for like the 30th time in the last 6 years. So you would probably settle for them winning games. But the bottom line is, at some points, this town has to stop saying the Lions can win games. At some point, you need to be able to say that.
Well, you need to look at the reality of the team. The reality is they have a average to maybe good quarterback. And in this league, you can win with that. And yes, the definition of winning can mean a lot of things. You can win a division with an average quarterback. You can win a playoff game with an average quarterback.
Can you win a division with this average quarterback?
I believe you can, yes. If, again, this is the biggest if of it all. It relies on, is Dan Campbell a very good head coach? If he is not, no, you cannot win with Jared Goff. Because if Sean McVay couldn't compensate for Jared Goff in the playoffs, the hell is an average to below average coach going to do in this league? It really relies on Dan Campbell being an excellent head coach.